Hello, welcome to today's video. Thought I'd take a little change of scenery. It's kind of nice out right now, so thought I'd do this outside the porch while the sun's setting. So, last Thursday was my first game of Bolt Action. And, I hadn't been able to really look at the rules because I don't have the rule book yet. That was our chance to learn the game, basically. Now, I had spent time online gathering as much information as I could, looking at the FAQs and all that kind of stuff, just to get good a feel as I could for the game. So I wasn't completely, in the dark when I started, but really understanding how the weapons interacted, how the units interacted was all new to me. So it took a long time because, when you're learning something, always trying to, you take things slow. Now for me, I am very visual when it comes to learning, so I want to look at the rules, read it and see it, because if I can picture it in my mind, and read it, I really remember it a lot better. So there's a lot of looking up rules, and my opponent, who, he's been in Bolt Action for years, but he's been, they just recently went to 2nd edition, so he's not completely up to speed on the 2nd edition, so there were even some rule checks for that, as a result of that. And then, of course, trying to decide what to do when it was your turn to move something. There's so many options, trying to understand the implications. And my opponent was gracious, as I talked through some of the things, or thought I would do something. He brought up, are you sure I want to do that, and here's why, and we discussed it. A couple times I changed my mind, some other times I didn't. Right or wrong. I'm trying to learn the mechanics of the game, right? So it was very grateful for his help there. Now I was facing a mix of Chindits and Gurkhas, so it was basically British on British rule systems. But it was very enlightening as you play through the game. Okay, we only made it through 2 turns, which doesn't sound like much. It took a couple hours. Simply because, just looking up the rules and such and making sure I understood what was going on and why. And we were really trying to understand, make sure that we were doing cover right and all that. It may take me a bit to learn, but once I learn it, I pick it up real quick. Now, he was also gracious enough to lend me his rule book. So I've been poring over that since we got back. And I'm starting to really get a better grasp on the game. And I really do like it. It is a very easy moving game. Very fluid. I like the dice alternating deployment, the alternating initiative, all based on what die you have pulling out of a bag. So everybody has an order die for each unit, for those of you who don't know. And you put it all in a bag, mix it up, and just randomly draw one out. If it's your color die, you get to do something with the unit. Your opponent's, he gets to do something. So you could run through 3 or 4 units before your opponent gets a chance, or vice versa. And it's random throughout the game, so it's pretty good. It's really hard to get that first turn, the Alpha Strike thing going on. So I do like that aspect. Looking at, I guess the one thing that I noticed is really big is with the game, it is entirely possible to and I want to use not min-max, but really, when you make competitive, you can make a very competitive list, and those competitive lists may not be very historically accurate, right? If you've watched my project build series, you've seen I'm actually building to a table of organization equipment that's specific to the 8th Rifles or the 10th Dragoons, as far as what their infantry platoons had. So I'm not going to stack multiple Bren guns, or light machine guns, or multiple submachine guns in a unit, because that wasn't really the way they typically did things. In fact, for the Polish 1st Armored Division, after the first couple months of combat, once they fought their way through the Falaise Gap, or not through it, but closed the gap on the Germans and linked up with the U.S. forces, they were pretty chewed up. So they had given a very good accounting of themselves, but they took a lot of casualties, and those were very slowly replaced because it was all Polish. So unfortunately, unlike some squads in the British, the Polish didn't really get up to full strength yet. Again, in fact, they even started the campaign understrength in their armored platoons. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that with the table of organization equipment being historical and being what I'm trying to do, I can see that I'm not actually building quote competitive lists. Now, fortunately, I'll have extra models and such. I will be able to eventually, but I really do enjoy putting down on a table a historical representation of something that was out there in reality. And it's almost like going back to my childhood, because I was building 72nd scale and 48th scale models of tanks and infantrymen and airplanes, you name it. And I of course, play with them, but there was no rule system to go with it. Now I get to paint my models and play with my models with a rule system, and it really, really is fun. I don't think I'm going to get into the Conflict 47 version, which is a alternate universe, kind of a almost a Dust-like twist on World War II. I'm going to stick with the regular historicals because that's really where my passion is. I really love that stuff. And the only regrets I've got is that it's in 28mm scale. So the wide range of models out there in 72nd scale, 48th scale are completely worthless. Can't use those. I got to rely on Warlord Games to provide the units, or other smaller manufacturers out there to do some of those. I have found a few, but when it comes to building my Polish 10th Motorized Brigade come later in the year or next year, I really won't have a lot of options for models like for the Polish staff cars and jeeps and light trucks, stuff like that. I'll have to actually convert those. But bolt action, I really do enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to doing that on a regular basis. It looks like it's going to be a weekly thing, almost every Thursday here. And what I'll end up doing is, as I get more fluid and I've got an understanding of the rules, I'll probably start to record bat reps for those. It looks like I'll definitely be able to do that. We've got quite a few individuals in the area that are starting to play it. Some painted armies, some not, but that's okay. I don't know that I'm going to be able to have all painted armies for the bolt action videos. I will try to do that, but I don't think I want to discriminate too much at this point, given the relatively few numbers of bolt action players right now. So the way it stands is, as I learn the game better and we get more fluid and faster with the game, if I can actually fit a game in, a full game within the time I actually have on a Thursday night, then I'll actually go ahead and record those and see how they go. So, all right, so that's just kind of my first impressions of bolt action. I just wanted to kind of share that, and I don't know, that's I guess it's just sharing my hobby, guys, which is really what this channel is all about. So anyway, catch you guys later in whatever videos you happen to watch. So thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please go ahead and do so. Click the notification button. Share, like, subscribe if you can, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.